Hey everybody, how's it going out there? And welcome to the Training on the New Nadex Platform webinar. I guess just the Nadex Platform webinar now. Welcome to my new setup. Those of you that come hang out and some of these before, I did just move houses, so I have a different background up today. So let's see how this goes. So this is Training on the New Nadex Platform. Today is August 5th, not the 8th. Sorry about that. And my name is Adam McCain. Before we get too deep into everything here, we do always have to do our wonderful disclaimer. Very basically, just as trading on Nadex does involve risk, it is not appropriate for everybody. Basically, don't trade with money you can't afford to lose, right? Only be trading with the discretionary income. You don't want to be trading with money that you need for rent, you need for food. The other thing is I will be making some trades to show how the platform works here today. None of these trades, they're all basically going to be placed randomly anyway. Be picking random markets, random sides, random strikes. So I definitely wouldn't take anything that I am trading as recommendation or anything you should trade, because again, I will just be picking random things. So don't go off and just trade something just because I traded here today, because again, not a recommendation to go ahead and do that. Give you all a second to go ahead and read the rest of this here quickly. All right, I think that's enough time on that slide. Just by the way, I do have the questions and everything up on my other screens. If you do have any questions, any concerns, can't hear me, want me to go back over something, feel free to mention that. I am watching the questions in the chat over on the other side. Actually, let me pull the chat up as well. Comments, fantastic. So next slide here. Ooh. What?
Give us a second, folks. It looks like we lost Adam's microphone for a moment, and I'm sure he's trying to solve his technical issue right now. Let's see how quickly he can solve it. Unfortunately, we are delivering these sessions over the internet, and yeah, clearly the internet is not wholly reliable. So let me see if I can apologize for that. And hopefully Adam will be able to. Oh, there we go. Are you back?
There we go. Was I completely out there?
We lost your sound there for a little bit. Yeah. I was filling in and doing a little tap dance.
There we go. Okay.
I don't know why your sound totally dropped, but we're back. I think everyone saw your slide here on your background. So
okay, sure. So
yay, he's back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think probably having some internet issues here. Thanks for jumping in there, Todd. If I do drop out, anyone in the chat, if you want to throw that in the questions, if you can't hear me anymore, just so I know, and I will try to go ahead and fix that. All right, moving on to the next slide here. So just the agenda for today. Before we jump over to the platform, we go in depth into the platform. We're going to go over the layouts, placing orders, managing positions, and finally your settings. We won't be going over the charts today, just because for those of you that may have been around for a couple of the past ones, these webinars have started running pretty long. So I think what we're going to do going forward is do today as everything but the charts, and then in a couple weeks from now do the charts and sort of do some bi-weekly platform webinars in the future, as long as Todd allows me to do that. All right, so let's jump on over to the platform here. No more time wasted. So all of you should probably know, to get to the platform, you just go to nadex.com. You can hit this nice login button, and there we are in the platform. I'm going to switch to demo for today's webinar. Sign into my beautiful I Like Nadex account, and there we go. So starting off, you have this nice little bar that comes across when you actually first log in. If you do ever want to know how to get started, you can always click this platform walkthrough video. You'll have Todd, who you did just hear from, fill it in for me when my sound went out. He does a very nice introduction to the platform, walks through everything. This will be a little bit more in-depth than that, though. So just jumping right into it, the first thing you'll probably notice is over here on the left-hand side, you have your Finder window. This is where you'll be able to select your first your product type, so your binary options, your call spreads, and your knockout products. So just across the top here, as you can see, I'm clicking around. And then going down underneath those, you'll have your different asset classes, right? So you have your indices, Forex, events, commodities, same thing for call spreads and knockouts. And then at the bottom here, you can actually search by duration. So you can pull up your 5-minute binaries. Those are just going to be Forex contracts for the 5 minutes. You can also pull up your 20-minute binaries by clicking on those, and the 20 minutes will just be those indices. Now, let's see, what do we want to do today? We'll go into an indice. We'll start with one of these indices first, and let's scroll on down to, we can go to a US 500 here, right? That's a fairly popular one, been popping recently, all the way up to 4,400 here. So you'll see that, first of all, you have all of your markets here on the left-hand side. And you can also see, you can see the indicative price straight away without clicking into anything directly next to the market itself. Underneath all the markets, you have your expirations. So for the indices here, we have our nice 2-hour contracts. So we see one that ends at 1 p.m. That's 1 p.m. Eastern time. All these times on the platform will always be in Eastern. 1 p.m. Eastern time, we got about 49 minutes left in that bad boy. 2 p.m., we got an hour and 48. So you can see very clearly how much time you have remaining in these contracts. You have your dailies and your weeklies. So let's jump on in. Let's do a 2-hour here. You click it out into this and you get your entire price ladder. This will show you all the strikes. This one has quite a few. I think we've actually had to add some here today. So we have quite a few strikes here. You'll see your strikes and you'll see the pricing. And just for today's example, we'll get into one right around and at the money strike, so right around that $50, $60 range. Let's go with this 4412.8 expiring at 2 p.m. contract. So you can always see the strike price here before you click in. And then you can either click directly on the strike itself, which will bring you up a chart without anything selected, or you can click on the buy or sell to have the buy and the sell selected both on the chart and on the deal ticket itself over here on the right-hand side. So moving into the chart, let's real quick just make this nice and pretty so that we can actually see all of our strikes here. There we go. A lot of strikes overlaid on our chart here. Like I said, I won't go too in depth into the charts here today. I will show one thing that we have fairly recently added is the quick chart here. So you can switch to the quick chart, and so right now this actually, because this just launched a few minutes ago, you can't see too many, but the quick chart will show you the price of the actual binary option itself, while the other chart, the normal chart, shows you the price of the underlying. So you can see here, as we're moving up and down, it's showing you the midpoint between the buy and the sell here. But like I said, I have to tell myself to not do too much on charts today, because we will be saving that for the next week and further into the future. Going on here into the deal ticket, so starting at the top left of the deal ticket, we have the indicative price. This is going to be the price of the underlying market after it has gone through our settlement calculation, right? So everything you're seeing on the chart and all indicative prices on the platform itself are all the price, not only just of the underlying futures, but of the underlying futures that's going through that every second through that settlement process. So through that, basically taking down those last last X number of ticks, cutting off the bottom and top 30%, and leaving you with that remaining number. You also see the expiration time once again, so we know we have an hour and 46 left in this contract. And then you have the contract spelled out, I guess, a little bit clearer manner. Will the US 500 September rollover finish higher than 44,112.8 at 2 p.m.? If you think it will, obviously you want to go ahead and buy that contract. If you think it will not finish higher, or so if you think it will finish equal to or lower than that 4412.8 point in an hour and 45 minutes, you would then go ahead and sell that contract. For right now, we're gonna do a buy just for this first example, but I won't place the order quite yet. Do with this market depth, as I click this, you can see all of the market participants in a certain contract. So right now we just have just one, it looks like one market maker. Actually, it looks like two, but they have the same pricing up here on the buy side, and then we have two market makers here on the sell side. So you can see there's one sitting here offering 57, and there's another one beneath them offering 56.75. So you can always see, and if you place limit orders, you can also place that in the book as well, and we will show you that here in just one second. Moving down, we have the order type. Order type, pretty self-explanatory. There are two order types on Nadex. There is the limit GTC, that's going to be your limit order, and then there is the market order. My orders are defaulted to limit, but market will actually be the default when you first get into the platform, and I will show you how to change that here later on in the webinar. The market order, we'll really quickly go into it. So market order is going to be the best one to actually get you into the contract in the quickest manner, right? It's telling you to get me in at the current market price. So therefore, you don't actually choose a price. You just choose your size, however many contracts you want. With a limit order, you're actually telling the exchange what price you would like to get in. So let's say this is at 60, but you only want to get in at 40. You can do that. It won't enter you into the contract at 40. It will place a working order, but we'll go over that one in a second. For right now, we'll do a market order, and we will get into our first contract of the day. Very quickly, before we actually get in, though, we'll look at the max loss and the max profit. The max loss here. So on Nadex, you can only lose what you actually put into a contract, right? There's no margin. You can't ever lose more than what you are risking on one contract. Now you might be saying, but Adam, this max loss is quite a bit higher than is. Oh, did my audio go away? Looks like it's back. After this webinar, we'll have to have a talk with my internet provider. But for right now, we have the max loss here. Generally, if you have this as a mark limit order, so we'll go back, it will always be the same as your price to enter, right? Because it'll never be filled at a different price. The reason when you have a market order, this max loss might be higher is because it's adding this price plus the market tolerance, right? That tolerance range that you have that will allow you to get into the contract if it's within a certain range when you're putting the order in, right? So at default, that range is set to 10 points. I think this one's set a little bit over, but let's just say this was set to 10 points. The buy was at 60, and all of a sudden this went up to 65 in that millisecond between when you put that order in. It would still enter you into that contract because it's still entering you in that market price. However, that protection level, if it's, let's say it's 10 and you enter it at 60, if it goes up to 71, it will actually cancel your order and not enter you in. The reason we built that is because these contracts move so quickly up and down, we don't want you to be filled into a contract at a price significantly different than what you think and what you hope you're going to be entering into with a market order. So that's a very quick explanation of the market order there. And then you'll see our max profit is going to be always 100 minus the price we'd be paying to get in. So if it's 50, it'll be 50, right? 100 minus that price, because obviously your max payout is going to be 100. You pay whatever price is here to get in. There, you get your profit. So I can place the order to get in here. We'll place this order, then we'll go back and look at the max ROI and the probabilities here. And it looks like my internet is being extremely slow. Yeah, we're definitely having some issues here today. Let me refresh my platform here. Let's see if this fixes it. Apologies on the technical difficulties here today, because it definitely is my internet, but I am plugged directly into the Ethernet.
Yeah, so what we've got here, Adam, is Murphy's Law.
Yeah, everything that can, everything that
Whatever
can go wrong will
can
go
go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, it always seems to be during these webinars as well. So I again do apologize about this. Let me see if I can't jump. I don't think my Wi-Fi would be better, but
I'm wondering if you hit, you know what, because you're running through Chrome. I'm wondering if you update Chrome, if there's something in Chrome.
could be. Let's see here. Sorry, now you guys are just looking at a nice blank screen right now.
Yeah, just log back in. Or I'm going to, oh, there we go. You're back.
Whew. All right.
All right.
Scared off.
Whew. That was a close one.
All right, there we are. So sorry about that. Hopefully we can get through the rest of this without any more technical difficulties here, knock on wood. If we do, I'll definitely be having a sternly worded conversation with my ISP a little bit later on today. But for right now, we'll actually place this order, and there we go. We have the order actually going through into the platform itself. Fantastic. So before we actually move on down here to where you would manage your order, a couple more things about the deal ticket itself. So you can see here we have a couple. These are actually pretty new. I think we released this about 2 weeks ago. We have our max ROI and our probability in the money calculators here. So what the max ROI is doing is telling you your maximum return on investment, basically saying if this would expire in your favor, right? If you were to get the entire $100 payout, this would be your return on your initial cost to get in. And so you can see if I select, if I select one of these at about $10, you can see, oh wow, I have a major max ROI now, right? 700%. That's because if I get in at $10, $11 and I get a $100 payout, right? That's a $90 profit off my $10 entry point. That's an incredibly good return on investment. But, and then now you might be saying, well, why wouldn't I always just do this one with the max ROI? Well, that's why we also introduced the probability in the money calculator as well down here, because these two numbers, they are connected, right? There is a reason that this one is lower, this one's a lot higher, and this one's a lot lower, this one's a lot higher, right? Because while you can get a higher return on investment with getting into a contract that costs you a lot less, the probability that investment actually returns is a lot lower, right? So what the probability in the money is showing is your probability of actually this contract actually expiring in the money. And you can actually say, because these binary contracts are priced out of $100, whatever the price is the percentage chance the market thinks that the contract will expire in your favor. So you'll actually see, as this is moving up and down, this probability in the money is moving up and down, and this probability in the money is simply going to be the midpoint between these two items here. So you can see when it's at 10 and 4, you get a 6 probability in the money. And if you are confused about any of this, you can always click these nice little information bubbles we have that basically explain what I just went over. But this is, I think it's something that clients have asked us for quite a while, and we wanted just to make it extremely clear what's going on in the platform itself, and not only how much you can make on an individual contract, but your probability of actually having that expire in your favor. We can go look at one just very quickly here to drive this point home. So if I go here to a contract that's priced $86.92, you can see I have an 89% chance of getting my money back, right? Because I'm fairly in the money on this contract. I'm getting a $100 payout because, again, it just has to be above this line on the chart, and the market's all the way up here. Fairly good chance that that's going to happen, right? And the market's saying it's an 88% chance that's going to happen. However, obviously the ROI on that, the return on investment, is going to be a lot lower because I'm paying almost $90 or a little bit over $90 to get into this contract for a potential payout of only $100. Therefore, an ROI of much lower than that 800% that we were looking at a little bit early on. So that's going to be how these two are connected, right? The connection between both the max ROI and probability in the money. And again, I know I went over this fairly quickly. If you are having trouble understanding any of this, you can hit this little information bubble. It gives you a little blurb, and then actually hitting the see more is going to take you out to a blog post that is going to give you even more information. Now, for the time being, I'm not going to let that load because my internet seems to be finicky, so I don't want to put any more strain on it than is necessary. Again, you can also hit this for here. We have a nice long blog post on these items. Quickly here, before I actually get down to this part, we can actually see placing a limit order as well. So I'll place a limit order on this contract. So let's say rather than paying 93 to get into this contract, I say that's too expensive. I think the market's going to actually come down a little bit, and I want to put in an order that gets me into the contract at a lower price if the underlying market decreases in value. So I can say, okay, let's say if this goes down to 40. Well, at that point, I actually want this contract, right? I want it at $40. I don't want it at 92. I can place this order. Now, this won't get me in immediately at 40, but you can see here, this little area, a contract did just enter here, right? This little one dot did just come up. One other thing, actually, so we were looking at the market depth earlier. If I actually click into this now, we can see, oh, this is actually my contract. This is my $40 contract sitting out here on the market. And if someone else wants to take that off my hand, they can trade that with me, but it would have to be if this is the best available price, right? Because who would take a $40 contract when they could get one for 86 on the sell side, right? Because that's actually a cheaper contract at 86 on the sell side. So that's just just a little bit of you can actually see your orders out there if you do place those limit orders. Moving on down here to the bottom, we can see our positions panel. This is where you're going to manage all of your positions, all of your working orders. There is a history down here too that you can use for a sort of quick reference point. It's definitely not my favorite point for history, but we'll go over that in a second. So just going left to right, super quick, we'll run through this bar down here. First, we have the type. Obviously, this is a binary option. If it was a call spread, if it was a knockout, it would say call spread, it would say knockout. We have our contract here. This is going to be the contract name. So this is US 500. The September here, again, is just going to be the rollover month. It's not something you really need to worry about unless maybe you're looking at a chart off of our platform. Then you should make sure you get the right rollover month to look at. Greater than 44,112.8. That's our strike price. That's our line in the sand. That's what we needed to be over because we did get a buy side on this contract. Again, we do have the probability in the money. This is going to be consistently being calculated for all contracts. So you can see as I pull this back up, it's still just going to be the midpoint between these two, but it is going to be consistently calculated over the lifetime of these contracts in this bar at the bottom. We have the indicative price. That's just going to be, again, the indicative price of the underlying market. The expiration, or that's just going to be the date that it expires. So today at 2 p.m. and the time left, fairly self-explanatory. That is in an hour and a half. Once again, that's 2 p.m. Eastern time. All times are always at Eastern on the platform. We have a position here. So this is +1. If I had two positions, it would be +2, +3. If I was on a sell side of a contract, so we can do that here, it would say -1, right? So now we have our sell side contract as well. Our average price, that's just going to be the price we paid to get in. If you got into multiple contracts at multiple different price points, let's say I got to do a contract at $10 and a contract at $20, that would say my average price was $15. Again, fairly self-explanatory. The current price, that's going to be the current price. Now, actually, this is an interesting one to note. So the average price, the current price, and the profit and loss, and actually your position size, these are all connected, right? These four panels right here, these four columns that I'm highlighting there, all of these columns are connected, right? So your profit and loss is simply going to be, so first of all, your current is the price you could sell out of the contract for right now, right? So you own this contract, you can exit the contract at this price. It's the best price that is available to you, right? So you'll see I'm on the buy side. It's going to show me the sell side price here, because if I get in on the buy side, I'm getting out on the sell side price. And on the sell side, it's showing me the buy side price, because if I get in on the sell, I get out on the buy side price. So this is the current price that if you wanted to exit the contract right now, you could get back to your contract. Well, so then if you take the average price, you subtract the current price, well, that's going to give you your current profit and loss. That is the profit and loss if you exit the contract right now. Now, I always do try to drive this point home, because this is not necessarily the profit and loss if you were to hold this contract to expiration. It is simply the profit and loss if you were to exit right now. And to drive this point home even a little bit more, let's get into we'll get into a $94 contract here, right? So the probability that this expires in my favor extremely high. We'll do a market order just to get in. So you can see I just got into this contract. My profit and loss right now is showing -$5, right? If I were to sell out of this contract right now, I would lose $5. However, if the market were to expire right now, right? If this contract were to expire right now, I would get the whole $100 payout because this, the market is above my line that I needed to be above. So it's always something good to remember because you can have a contract where when it expires, you will have a payout, but if you were to sell it right now, it would be at a loss. So that's always something important to remember. The profit and loss here is simply if you were to exit right now. It has nothing to do with the profit and loss if you are to hold to expiration. So I think that's we spent a good amount of time on profit and loss here. We do have one more new button that we have here. This is going to be the close button. So you were always able to exit your contracts early on the Nadex exchange. So nothing functionally has changed all too much. However, we did just want to make it sort of an easier experience to actually exit a contract. So we made a new deal ticket. So this new deal ticket will actually show you basically just what I just went over at the bottom there. It has your average price, your current market price. You subtract these. There you go. You have your current profit and loss. You can close the position at this point. You can also, if I were in more of these, just bear with me one sec. So if I have 2 of these positions, why isn't it updating? I think I just maybe entered in the wrong. There we go. So if I have 2 of these positions, you can choose to close 1 or 2 because it's basically multiplying it by the number of contracts I have, right? So if I have 1, it's 575 loss. If I have 2, it's 1150 because it's loss per contract. So I can place my order here, close my position, and it's going to enter into a market order to exit if my internet is not being terrible. So in the meantime, we're just going to move on from that, and I think that will probably go through here. But that's how you can close out of your contracts there. Going on over to your orders, the orders panel is going to be fairly similar here. Your working orders, it's not, really not anything different than all the panels that you have over here on your positions. You have your type, the contract, you have your indicative, the expiration, the time left, size. The only real thing different here is going to be your difficulties today. Going on here, the filled section is just going to show you how many contracts that you actually have been filled on. So if you have maybe an order of 5 and you're filled on 0, maybe you get filled on 1 or 2. That'll show you how many contracts you actually filled on, and then the price and the current price as well. So moving on here, and the other thing that I did want to show before I move completely out of the deal ticket area. So if I pull this back up, we have this net buy or sell on any contract. It's going to bring back up the ticket. You can also hide all of these panels, right? You can hide this bottom panel by hitting these arrows. You can bring them back up by hitting the arrows again. And again, with the side panel over here, you can hide them, and you can bring them back up by clicking on any of these panels over on the left-hand side of the screen. So if you really want to have a massive chart, you can always do something like this, and there you go, my entire page is taken up by the chart, and then you can always bring it back by clicking, and clicking, and there we go. So the one other thing I wanted to show is the tear off tickets. Now, a lot of people are asked, you know, I want to have multiple tickets up, I want to have multiple charts up on my screen. Well, this is going to be the best way currently to actually do that. So you can tear off the ticket, and what will happen is, if my internet will not be terrible, which it currently is, so I may just have to explain to you what should happen, because again, oh, there we go. Do not know where that is. Okay, so what generally happens is a ticket will be torn off and it will come up in front of your screen, right? You can do this with the charts as well. You can click up here and tear off your chart. Oh, it looks like it's actually going to work now. Yeah, looks like both of them are trying to work. If they do come up, I'll show you. But again, you can bring up multiple charts, multiple tickets on one screen, and sort of arrange them so that you can see all of your charts, all of your tickets, even all of your different price ladders at one point. I often, when I'm doing some demo trading on the account just to test things out, I might have 8 markets up on my screen, and I'll just have the different price ladders up really for those different markets. So again, I don't know where that is. And again, I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but you can bring up the different price ladders. And so I might have a US 500, Tech 100, Russell, all of these up on my screen with price ladders, with the euro dollar, etc. Okay, can you, am I still gone or can you hear me now? Because I did just see the question in the chat, we lost you, so if you close early, you lose more. Not necessarily, no. So the question was, and you know, I think this is when again my sound went out. It was, so if you close early, you lose more. I think talking about the closing your position early. So no, you don't necessarily lose more if you close early, right? Let's say this profit and loss. Let's say I got in right here on this contract, right? So if I had entered maybe on this candlestick on this exact contract at this point, it probably would have cost me about 50 bucks, because contracts that are right around, you know, at the money, right, that are like right here, they're generally around 40, 50, 60 dollars, right? Right at the money contracts, as we call them. And then the contract, you know, starts moving up, starts moving up, starts moving up. Well, you know, you never know what the market's actually going to do, but you know, if I had bought this for 50, I could sell out of it for 87.50, right? That would be a profit of $37.50. And so maybe I actually want to lock in my profits there, right? I can lock in my profits, and I could say, you know, in case the market does go against me, because just because the market's up doesn't mean that it can't go back down. I'm sure everyone that's been trading for a little bit has had those times where they're up very high and the market crashes back down on them. You can always take your profits and walk away with them before the expiration. So it's less that you lose, or sorry, that you lose more money if you close early, right? There's just different scenarios where you'd want to close early versus wanting to hold all the way to expiration. The point I was trying to make though on the profit and loss is that all of this is telling you is your profit and loss if you close right now. It's not telling you your profit and loss if you get out early. And sort of actually one more thing to sort of drive that home, not to belabor the point too hard, but let's say I got into this contract at, you know, let's say I got into a buy side contract at, you know, way up here. So I can place this order and get in at 650, right? And then let's say that the market is going up very high. So if the market were to come like up to this point, right? Let's say in the next hour, the market's moving up, moving up, moving up, and I have like 5 minutes left, and the market's trading around here. Well, generally, if the market's trading around here, this contract's not going to be worth $60, or sorry, $6 anymore. It might be worth something like 40, right? But if the contract were to expire right here, I would get a $0 payout because it's not above the line I need to be above. So on the other side of this, right, you can actually lock in your profit where you would get a $0 payout and you would lose all your initial entry point, everything that you paid to get in, rather than getting a profit here because the contract would be more valuable because the underlying market has gone up. So that's where the point I was trying to make is that, you know, at expiration, it doesn't matter anything else, how much the market's moved. It's simply, is it above or below this line? But before expiration, you know, if you get in to a contract on the buy side and the market goes up, generally you're going to be able to sell it back for more. If you get into a buy side and the market goes down, generally you can sell it back for less. Sometimes you can even, you know, limit your losses, right? Let's say you pay $80 to get into a contract, you can get out at 40, take your $40 off the table and say, okay, maybe that was a bad move, but at least I'm not losing the entire 80, right? So a lot of different things you can do, a lot of different strategies you can do with that. So it's not necessarily better or worse to hold it to the end. There's just different scenarios where you'd want to hold it to the end of the contract or hold it to expiration versus selling out early. And I hope that all makes sense. And I hope my mic didn't go out during any of that. So moving on here, we can go over to, so we did the deal ticket, we did the bottom area here, we did the tear-offs as best we could. So right now we're going to go over to the left-hand side panel. Actually, you know what? Let's do the very top first. So first of all, just going from the top, we're going to do this entire top row. We have our open live account here. If you have if you're trading on a demo and you want to open a live, this is going to take us. Oh, that was a very delayed order rejection. Again, this is because my internet is very slow here today, and I think because I'm streaming to all of you. So you can hit this open live account. This is going to take you to our application, right? If you want to open a live, not going to sit on that point too long. You have your platform status here. So this is generally going to be, generally this is almost always going to say operational. I think we have something like a 99.5, 99.9, some very high percent uptime with the platform. Almost never do we actually have anything that actually takes the platform down, but if it does, this will actually show you that it's in degraded status or something. So we will warn you if it's not like okay to trade on our side, but again, 99.9% of the time this is going to be operational. One other thing, you can click on it, it's going to bring up this status page. Oh, I'm very glad that actually popped up. So you have different ones for all trading platform, account creation, etc. One interesting one is this trading halts and exceeded price limits. If we ever get into a scenario like we were last March, where the markets are just, going up 10%, 15% in a day, this might be where you'll check, because what may happen is the underlying market sometimes gets halted if there's a certain percentage move. If the underlying market is moved, obviously we don't have anything to price our contracts on, so our contracts will halt as well. And so if you're ever seeing a contract that says like halted on this screen, you can click on here and it will show you that status and give you a little bit of explanation about those events. Moving on over, we have the exchange time, pretty self-explanatory. Remember, always Eastern time. We have our available balance, our total P&L, and our position value. And actually, if you click down off of this, you can actually change different values, right? So if you don't want your available balance, you can go over to show your reserve, your account value. And if you ever don't know what these are, we have a little information bubble here. You can click this and you can say, okay, well, my available balance, it's the funds available to dealer withdrawal, reserve is funds reserved for working orders and fees, etc. So if you're ever unsure what this is, you can always go over here and look at them. And you can also hit the hide values. This is now going to hide all the values so no one can see how much money you have in your account, how much P&L you have. If you're trading in public, or maybe you do some educational stuff as well, you don't want to see people to see how much money you actually have in your account, you can hide the balance here, and if you want to show it, you can show it again. Moving on over, we have our account section here. This is just going to be the account overview. Again, it's sort of just a stylized version of what you just saw up here at the top right. If I didn't have 10,000, you would see a little sliver of yellow in here for the reserve, but just sort of splits it up like a pie chart so you can see the allocation of all of the funds in your account. We also have this replenish balance button. This is another fairly new feature. In the past, it was a little bit archaic. Where if you actually wanted, you spent all your demo money and you wanted to get a little bit more funds back, you'd actually have to give us a call or email us or live chat us, and we'd have to go in and manually do it. Well, now you can actually just hit this yourself. You can confirm that you want 10,000. Now this actually is not going to work for me because I have over 10,000 in this account. But one other thing to note is that you can only do this once every 24 hours. So, if you're running through $10,000 every 24 hours, maybe change your trading style just a little bit to be a little bit more realistic, because that is quite a lot of funds. So again, you can hit confirm. Now this is going to tell me I can't do it because I have over 10,000. But again, if you do want to replenish, this is going to be where you find it. Moving on down, we have our residential address and our contact details. This is all going to be fake stuff because this is a demo account. I obviously don't live in Trader Town, Alaska. If this is your live account, please keep this up to date, because whenever we do send you out, stuff like tax information or anything physical that we need to send you, which isn't very often, but when we do send it to the details that you have on file here. In the live environment, this right under this residential details will be where your funding options are, and your withdrawing options, and your wallet options. For right now, this is the demo account, so obviously those are not there because you can't, there's no funding or withdrawing from your demo accounts, as much as I would love to withdraw all the fake money out and be able to go spend it around town. Moving on down here, this is going to be where you find your history. Now, I know I did very briefly mention you have this 24-hour history down here. This is going to be a 24-hour order history. I honestly don't use this all that much. It is a good, very quick reference point to see what you've been doing. But if you want a more in-depth history, you're going to want to go here to your reporting and click on your history. Now, you have a couple options here. You have your transaction or order history. I like transaction. Order is just going to show you all the orders you place. So it's going to have things like order sent, order filled, which you can actually see down here. If you can, I know it's a little bit dark, but it'll say, you sent an order, you filled an order, you sent an order, et cetera, et cetera. But for the transaction history, it's just going to show you what you got into and what you got out. So I think it's a little bit easier to handle. You can change, your trading or your fund history. Your fund history is going to show you how much you've been putting in, how much you're taking out. And then you can change, how much you want to see, view history, and it's going to bring up this history here. For right now, so we are working on creating something better for a profit and loss for your entire account profit and loss. But just for right now, probably the easiest way to actually calculate profit and loss is either to just copy this into an Excel sheet, or you could just you can actually download this. And I'm really hoping that this does not mess up my internet when I click this. But what you can do is you can download this. It's going to pop up in an Excel sheet. Okay, great. It did not mess up my internet. Let me bring this over. And what you can actually do here is you can actually select this entire column, and you can actually see the sum of this. You can even just do a sum right here. So I can do equals sum. This is a little Excel tidbit for all of you out here today. You drag this all up, hit that enter. You can see my total P&L here is going to be 186.50. Now, this is not going to include any contracts that I'm currently in, right? Because I'm actually not going to have the payouts on there. But this is going to be currently probably the easiest way to see your P&L. Again, we are working on bringing a better way, because I do know that this is not the most intuitive way. So we are working on building that out. It's just taking a little bit of time to actually build it. But for right now, probably the best way to actually get your P&L. So let me get out of here. You also have your statement here, which is basically just your transaction history and sort of a nice, a nicer face on it, I guess, for the last 30 days. So if you really want a statement, you can go in here and grab this. You can also download it. I very rarely actually use these statements, but if you are the kind of person that likes it in this format, feel free to go ahead and use the statement this way. Yeah, the contact us here. So this is going to be the best ways to contact us. You have the email address here. Pretty good way to get in touch with our client services team. They're going to be able to help you out with any questions you have. You can also write to us via snail mail. Honestly, I would not recommend doing this. Like it takes a very long time. And even though a lot of us are going back into the office these days in downtown Chicago, still, you never know when people might be in, people might be out. Moral of the story is just send us an email or live chat us. I mean, unless you really need to send us something physical, you can do it to this address. But honestly, I would recommend not doing it that way. Then you have your feedback. Now, this section is, I love this section, and I usually spend a bit of time on it because we want to hear from you. I have a report that gets sent out to me and all the developers every single day that goes over everything that's put into this box here. So if I say, I hate Nadex, you guys stink, well, while I'm reading my coffee tomorrow morning, I will read that message. Hopefully more of them are, much more like, I love Nadex. But, whether it be good, whether it be bad, if we have a feature that you love, if we have a feature that you're missing, please send it in here, because I read them, our developers read them. And this is actually how we get the ideas to create a lot of the things that we put in here. Things like the tear-off tickets, like the quick charts, the demo replenish, even the max ROI and probability. Some of them were stuff that we kicked around before, but when we see a lot of people saying, the same thing in here, that's when we know we really need to prioritize to build that. So it's very important, and I love hearing from all of you. So if you think we're doing a great job, terrible job, anything in between, you want to see a new feature, let us know, submit the feedback. We actually do read this. This isn't like some random suggestion box that goes into nothing and no one looks at it. We do look at this. So please do give us your feedback. And I'm not saying that every single suggestion ever sent in here will be put out. We do have a finite amount of developers and time to do everything, but we do try to do whichever is put in here the most. Going on down here to the very bottom, we have a refer friend. Now you do have to have a live account to to join in on the refer friend program. It is quite a nice program, though. Basically, very, very basically, if you can get $100 for every account that you refer. So it would be deposited into your account. You do have to have a live account, and you do have to have the person that you refer actually open up a live account, trade on their account, etc. If you want to know more about it, definitely go over here, hit this learn more. That's going to have all the details for you, in writing. So don't take my word for anything I'm saying on this. On the refer friend, it's definitely not my strongest forte of this refer friend program, but it is a nice program. So definitely hit that learn more if you do want to participate in it. But again, you do have to have a live account. And on the live account, it'll actually have a little link for you down here that you can send out to other people to help refer them. So that's going to be everything from this account section. You also have the log out button here that you can hit. I'm not going to hit it right now, but if you do want to log out, you go to account and hit the log out button. So very, very finally, we have this left-hand column here. So this is going to be the markets one is the default one. That's going to bring up, all your different markets, right? Moving on down, we have our updates, and you can see I have a little 2 here because I actually haven't checked this account in a while. So whenever we have a new update that we push out, it's going to be right here in the updates and news section. So you can see when we put the new feature in, we have the new feature telling you, hey, we've got some new features in here now. We also, for all of our product schedules, all of our holiday hours. So if we have a holiday coming up, certain markets close. So as you can see here for the Japan holiday, we have the market close, and you're going to find that here. Also, any rollover schedules. So whenever contracts roll over, or whenever a future rolls over, you'll see that in the updates and news section as well at the top left there. Moving on down here, you have this button that says mobile app. So if you click this, you'll actually have a QR code. And if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to get the mobile app on your phone. We do have an app. It's not in the App Store due to just some back and forth we have with Apple and Google. But we do have a mobile app, so you can scan this. It'll come up. You can actually save it to your phone, and it will prompt it to save it to your phone, and then it will work like any other application that you have. Going on down here as well, you have this contact us page. This is going to pop up another page. It's going to give you that email. It's also going to give you that live chat as well. So at the bottom here, you can click this chat with an expert, and you will be able to chat with one of the customer service representatives. This is probably the quickest way to get in contact with us, and you get to talk with one of our customer service people who are always very informed and helpful, in my opinion. Those guys know a lot. Again, you have this feedback button, which, it's so nice. We put it in here twice. It's going to pop this back up so you can give us your feedback because, again, we do want to hear from you. And finally, at the very bottom left, we have our settings. So we have a few settings here that I'll go over here today in the last few minutes of this webinar before we get to some more questions. So first of all, we have the tolerance. I went over the tolerance a little bit earlier and how that works. But default, it's going to be 10 and 3 on a new account that you open for binaries and the call spreads and knockouts. For the binaries, that $10 range is going to be that obviously $10 over the price. But let's say that you always want to be filled at the exact price, and if you don't get that exact price, you want the contract to be canceled, you can always put that to 1. Let's say you're fine with getting filled at a Lucid price, you can put that all the way up to 25. So you can definitely mess with the tolerance settings there. I do always recommend just keeping it at 10 if you don't have a specific reason to actually change that, just because it is there to help you and help protect you from getting filled at an unreasonable price. Default order type here. You can choose market or limit. I like limit. Market's going to be the default when you first get in. It's really personal preference in how you trade, but it just means that whenever you click on a new contract, if you have market set, it'll bring up market. If you have limit set, it'll bring up limit. The default contract size, if you always want to trade in like 2 lots, 5 lots, 10 lots, you could change the default contract size. And when you pull up a new contract, it will change to that size. I would always recommend just keeping it at 1, because if you put in 10 contracts and you have a default and you accidentally, oh, I didn't mean to put in 10, we really can't help you on that, right? Because you've entered into a contract not with us, but with another member of the exchange. So I just keep it on 1. That's the easiest way to make sure nothing crazy happens. And then we have our session inactivity. It tells you how long you can sit there without it logging you out. I usually have mine set to like 12 hours because I only have these on my personal computers, but maybe if you trade like in a public place, you want to set that to like an hour just in case you forget to log out. And at the bottom, you can choose your dark mode, your light mode. That burns my eyes. And system is really going to be what you have the rest of your system set to. But I prefer dark mode always because, again, light mode hurts my peepers. So that is really going to be the entirety of the platform. Actually, one more thing extremely quickly here. We do have this audio connection restored. There we go. At least it's telling me now when it loses my connection. So we do have across the left-hand side here a bunch of courses, and some of these, if you want to know how to place a binary, this will actually walk you through step by step on how to actually place a binary trade, give you some options for it. So it's very helpful to get all those new learnings in there. Okay, so that's going to be the entirety of the webinar here today. I will pull this presentation up just for one more second for the last few minutes. If you have any questions, if you could, definitely ask them now. I again do apologize for some of the technical difficulties here today. It is, again, I did just move into this new house and still trying to figure out some of the internet things. So I all I can say is sorry about that. By next week, we should have everything back up, or I guess 2 weeks from now will be the next webinar that I do. So should have that all figured out. Here's a bunch of contact information if you guys can see this. And again, if you do have any questions, you can ask them in the chat now, and I will respond to any of them. Here's all our socials. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Definitely always good to follow us on those. We do tweet out whenever there's any new products, or if the markets are down, we always do tweet that out. And our marketing team does always want me to say, if you do like Nadex, go leave us a Trustpilot review. It does really help us out. So I shouldn't be so flippant about it, because it does help us. So if you are enjoying Nadex, leave us a review on Trustpilot. And that's really going to be it for today. I'm not seeing any more questions come in, so I will go ahead and end it here. But thank you all for coming and bearing with me as I, talk to your ear off while also trying to make the webinar work for you. I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, and best of luck in all of your future trading.